Today we're going to go over the testing procedure for administering the battery of assessments with reading results. There are 3 components to the assessment that we'll be covering today. The first is the core phonics survey. This component has several parts, all with letters attached. It goes from Part A to Part J, and generally goes from easiest to most difficult. Parts A through D are on isolated letter names and sounds, consonants and vowels, and parts E to J are on decoding words with different sound patterns like blends or arc-controlled words. Component 2 is the RAT. This is a list of words that help us determine a grade level based on how far the student can read through the list. Component 3 is a grade level passage that is timed in order to get the number of words per minute the student is reading and the accuracy percentage of what they're reading. There are also 5 comprehension questions that go with the passage as a part of this section of the test. We won't be administering the entire assessment on this video, but showing you key pieces that are important for all tutors to take notice of. We will be highlighting common errors that tutors may make and have made in the past, and instead showing the correct way to go through the test. As a program, a lot rides on these assessments. From the instruction that the students receive to the data that is shared in official capacities with schools, districts, and donors, to decisions that are made about how to potentially rework the program in future years. As such, it is critical that tutors all across the program are administering this test as consistently as absolutely possible, and no matter what school we're in, we are practicing complete fidelity. So, if you need to take notes on your testing packet while you're watching this video, please do so. If you have any questions or are unclear about anything covered in this video, ask your PSM to explain further.
Section 1, Phonics Survey. So before we get started, there's a couple of things I want to tell you about. First of all, don't use the word test, because that just makes kids kind of uptight and like they have to do some certain performing. Say, hi, I'm Miss Mendenhall, and I want to hear how you read today. Your body language and space will tell the students a lot about what's going to happen. So we want them to be relaxed and thinking this is just another day of tutoring. Having materials ready and be comfortable. Tell them if you get stuck or need any help, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you if you get stuck on a word. Be mindful that when you're prompting a student to move on in a test, that your prompts don't indicate if they're right or wrong, that you just want them to go, and move on to the next part of the test. Hi Jessica, my name's Miss Mendenhall, and today I'm going to have you tell me some names of letters and some sounds and some words, okay? So no big deal. If you get stuck, I'll help you, okay? So will you, get my stuff ready here. Okay, will you tell me, I'm going to do some marking over here. You don't need to worry about that, you just focus here. Okay, will you tell me the names of this first row here? Ready, go.
D A N S X Z G L H.
Okay, ready. The first 2 boxes are letter ID. The next 2 boxes are letter sounds. Before we get started, I want to mention about when the student sees the letter C and the letter G, they give you what we call the soft sound, S, for the letter C. You want to say, it does make that sound, but it makes another sound. Can you tell me the other sound it makes? If they give you the sound J for the letter G, the same thing. Say it does make that sound, but can you give me another sound? Okay. So the next section is Part D, vowel sounds. And we want you to, if you haven't already, to go up and read the directions before you administer the test of how to do the 2 sounds for the vowels. So I'm going to demonstrate with Jessica. Okay, so can you tell me the sounds of each letter? Okay. Do you know another sound for that letter?
E.
Okay.
I.
Do you know another sound?
I. A. A. O. U.
Okay. So the next section is reading and decoding parts E, F, G, H, and I, and J. So on this part, you have to get the you have to get at least 2 words right in each of the first 2 rows before you can go on to the 3rd row, which is nonsense words. And if you don't, then you won't do the last row.
Very good.
Okay. So Jessica, I'm going to have you read the words in this box. Ready, go.
Sip, mat, let, bun, hig,
Okay. Next row.
rut, fit, bat, hit, sought.
Okay. So Jessica, on this row, these are what we call nonsense words. They're not real words. I just want you to kind of put the sounds together and read it as a word. Okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Go ahead and go.
Nop, sut, dit, bam, flap.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to go on to the next box. Starting right here, go across.
Step, trip, qued, spell, plan,
Okay. And the next row.
skill, fast, snack, limp, hand.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next box. Okay. So for the last part of the phonics survey, part J, your student is going to read down the rows, not across. And in order to go to the next row, they need to get at least 5 right in this row to go on to the next one. And the same with the last row, which are pseudo words. And these little asterisks mean that the student can say either the long or short sound for the vowel. Please remember you need to assess each box, even if the student wasn't able to get any of the words correct on the box before it.
You can do the next section, which is the rat portion right here. Or if you like, you can give the student a choice between the two. So the rat or the dibble story. That way, sometimes it gives them a little break from reading a bunch of words, straight to the story. On the rat portion of the test, on part 1 for letter reading, students only need to do this portion if they missed any on the part A of the letter names. If they got all of this right, you can skip this section and go straight to word reading. All right, so on this section, you're going to have the students read across the row, and you want to make sure you mark it if they get it wrong. Only stop this part when they get 5 in a row. Not 5 total, but 5 in a row. All right, Tony, I'm going to have you read the words across.
Okay. Cat, in, book, tree, bow, bow, bow. Animal, hare, spin, every, sizz,
Keep going.
bing, binger, felt, loof. I don't know that one.
Okay.
I
the
don't know
next
that one. Don't know that one. Spit, lamb.
All right, you can stop right there.
All right. For the last section, each grade has a different story to read. Make sure you have the right grade level story for the student to read. The stories look like this, and the page you mark on look like this. Make the same marks to indicate errors on this sheet. The first thing you should do when you start this section is some pre-reading around the story. Although this doesn't seem like a big deal, this part is critical in activating the prior knowledge of the student and preparing them for success. Okay, so now I'm going to do the pre-reading activity. I'm going to tell the student the title, and I'm going to ask them to read the title back to me, And then I'm going to ask them what they think the story might be about. Okay, Jessica, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this story says, I belong to a big family. Read the title for me.
I belong to a big family.
What do you think this story might be about?
Maybe about someone's family and how it's really big.
Okay, let's read to find out. Now, if you get stuck on a word, I'll help you.
Okay.
Okay, ready? And one hand holds the paper, and one hand, there you go. Ready, go.
I belong to a big family. My 3 brothers, 2 sisters, and grandma all live in our house. That makes 9 people in our family. You can bet it gets pretty fussy sometimes. We have Our rules are not the same kind of rules we have at school. Homework.
Oh, stop right there for a moment. You've skipped a line. So, school and start here.
Like sitting in your seat. Children who have not finished their homework have to stay in their rooms without the radio on.
Okay, let's stop right there. I like how you read that, Jessica. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now about what you read. Who is in the family?
Brothers, some sisters, and a grandma.
Yeah. Okay. What happens if a kid doesn't finish their homework before dinner?
They don't get snacks?
Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, we're going to stop right there.
All right, so for the spring passage, we have a new scoring format right here, and the questions are also on the same side. So I'm just going to show you quickly how to do that scoring. So the students stopped here in 3 minutes, and they read 141 words with 7 errors, totaling a 134, and you want to make sure you divide that by 3, which would equal 45. And you can round that number up as well.
So for scoring a story in which the student read in less than 3 minutes, things get a little bit tricky. However, we have the formula right here on the paper for you. So the most important thing is that you document how long it took for the student to read the story. And this can get tricky in case you are timing and it says how many seconds they have left. So if you need to do that and come back and do the math a little bit later, you can always just write down, 15 seconds left. But the best thing to do is to write the actual time it took for them to read the story. So in this case, the student read the whole story in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. So the first thing I'm going to do is here put the total words. And in this case, since they read the whole story, you put 214. And then minus the errors, which is 3, which gives us 211. Then I figure out the seconds read. So 2 minutes is 120 seconds, plus 45 seconds is 165 seconds. And then I am going to do some math with my handy dandy calculator and figure out that 211 divided by 165. So that equals 1.27877. So I'm just going to put that down here as 1.28. But then I will multiply that by 60 because there's 60 seconds in a minute. And that gives me how many words they read in a minute. That's 76.7, blah, blah, blah. Round that up to 77. And that is my words per minute. So the final piece of the assessment is you scoring the actual tests. And it is very, very critical that when you are writing the scores on the enrollment sheet, that you are writing very dark and very clearly. This actually saves us a lot of time and hassle because these sheets get copied so many times and go through so many hands. So when you're writing, make sure if you're writing in pencil that it's very dark and easy to read. I'm kind of writing upside down, so it might not be the neatest, but make sure that everything is very clear. Oh, and put your initials up here so that we know who to ask when we go back to check. And checking is the other really critical piece here. When you're checking a test, you're not just looking at the scores and making sure everything looks okay on the front. You're actually going back through the test and recounting the errors and making sure everything is right and that it matches the scores that are up here. Even when it comes to the final Dibbles passage, you're going to redo the math and make sure all the numbers are correct, especially the numbers that go on the front page.
Thanks for watching. Happy testing!